So, today we will have some hour to speak about strategic spatial planning. And these topics, I thought deeply to how to introduce this topic to students that came from a field not so far from urban planning, but at the same time I can say dissimilar. So I thought that maybe it's better to have an introduction of this 12-hour of course on sustainable urban and industrial regeneration. This is the central topic, but I thought maybe you know I thought to share this argument in this topic in different to observe this topic from different point of view and focusing in some case study, same experience that are the experience of the city of Foligno for what concern strategic spatial planning, the Prato experience for what concern the evolution from an industrial district to from an industrial district, a traditional industrial district to eco-industrial district. And then I thought to speak about the evidence of Perugia for what concern the alternative, how, for what concern the alternative mass transport system. In particular, for what concern the alternative mass transport system, urban mobility, as leverage of urban and I hope also the sustainable regeneration. When I think also that we have to have clear the idea. I don't know if it's possible to what sustainable mean, either in general that in particular, because there are so many different way of interpreting of know these terms. So if you are agree, I would like to ask you, what do you know about sustainability? So this is a question. What do you know about sustainability? I mean, first, do you know if sustainability is a term that came from someone, from something, and when? Or you know, or you think that sustainability is a common expression, a common sentence, a common words that grown up by I don't know, in the last how many decades?
In the Brundtland report.
In the Brundtland report. Okay, this is
the definition.
This is the point. In particular, what sustainable is, and what said Mrs. Brundtland.
That we need to fulfill the needs of the present. We need to preserve the future generation.
So this is the central
that involves social, economic, and environmental friendly issues.
This is the core. So sustainability is how we can say declinata, is spalmata, is something like share between many different fields. This is okay. This is a good point, starting point. So when we speak about sustainability and we use this term for urban regeneration, strategic spatial planning, industrial district, eco-industrial district, we have to think that is in lato sensu. Did you know this expression? Do you know this expression? In senso lato, in a wider meaning, not so engineeristic point of view. There is no LCA or something like this. We use, for example, going in the Foligno city case, as we will see, I make an anticipation, is is both economic and environmental. In the case Foligno. More in general, we used to say that strategic spatial planning is sustainable because to do something we use not only public money but something that came from private body. So I want to also say that Tuesday, the 27th, if you are agreed, and I hope yes, I was thinking to go in Perugia Center, to see with our eyes not the transformation, because this not the ongoing, not how, diciamo così, how I want to let be possible to you to see something about alternative mobility and how this alternative mobility change not the urban form but the pattern of urban development. So if everything is going to be correct from many different point of view, for example, a bureaucratic point of view, the meeting will be in Piazza Partigiani. You know where Piazza Partigiani? In Piazza Partigiani, 9:50, 9:30 in the morning. Okay. As I said, today we will speak about strategic spatial planning and the Foligno city case. So we have two different. This lesson is divided in two parts: a theoretical part and a more theoretical part. And I can say practical because it may be practical if the class was most participated, because in this case I used to do an exercise with the class, so how an exercise concerning exactly the doing of spatial planning. So let me introduce some questions and some history. We have Fabiana, came from
São Paulo.
metropoli, South American metropoli, one of the biggest in the world, I think.
Yes. 16 million people.
And we have also Laura, that came from Barcelona.
It's a small town.
It's a small town
No, near Barcelona.
near Barcelona. Me too came from
Between Barcelona and Lleida.
Bene, but you live in also near a European metropolis,
Yes.
and maybe you maybe because of your field of study, you you will know how is the on and when, how and when the city, European city, I mean, not the ancient city, but if you know also when, which is the most ancient city in the world, this is another surprise for me. Okay.
I have read in Leonardo Benevolo, but I don't
Very, very good
the
read.
history of
The story of the city, yes. I am going to mention Leonardo, Prof. Leonardo Benevolo. But taking into account that the city born in east, in the east of Europe, Medio Oriente, about 3,000 years ago, Jericho and other legendary city, as you could see from this paint in Siena of the middle of 14th century, correct? Correct, Laura?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I would speak about European city because we can, the city and the Europe and the citizenship is a whole, un intero, un insieme, how can say, an ensemble. If you help me, I will very happy.
Gathering? I mean?
Un insieme,
Gathering.
gathering, benissimo. So, the city born in Europe and give lives to Europe, how we know today. And this means to a civilization. I go very, not in deep, but making some jump, temporal jump. And we have to say that during the 11th and 12th centuries, the city have a new dynamism. New dynamism that was that dynamism that bring the city and the European civilization from the Umanesimo to Rinascimento. This renovation, this dynamism concern civic institution. In that time, municipality born, the bank, the law, administrative and bureaucratic culture, either in commerce, a push very hard in the commerce and in the way to do commerce. This is so true, what I'm saying, it is so true that Max Weber, that is a European sociologist that have studied many fields of society and also the city, said that the medieval Western city is the place where the ascent from bondage to freedom by means of monetary acquisition was possible. So, the old refrain that city hire makes us free, it is an awareness of an inevitable affirmation of the division of the labor, of the economic independence, and of the rational legal institution that shape the transition from the walled city, like this paint of Ambrogio Lorenzetti, to a modern urban extension. If something is not so clear, please, I ask you to tell me that there is something wrong in what I'm saying. So, it is very hard to have to make a difference, between the ancient city and the modern city. If I ask to you or to Professor Benevolo, which is the difference between the ancient city and the modern city, that the question is very hard. But because it has been one of the most important European historians of the city, maybe he could answer that the Enlightenment, as well as the scientific innovation, the economic development, and the demographic growth, together interrelated, breaks the responsibility of public and private domain structured in the last 10th century as an harmonic whole. What means this? This means that from 300 to 1,300 and 300, public and private domain was not existing. There was a one only bodies. It does not so. It is not so important to know if it's public or private, because it wasn't neither public nor private. But it's important to know that this domain is a son of the modernity age. And another question is, which is the modernity age? From Eurocentric point of view, Laura, from an Eurocentric point of view, which is the born of the modern age, because you came from Spain, where in the 1040
The modern age.
The modern age. In a historian's point of view, there is a year that is imprint with the fire in our books. And a man came from Genoa,
No?
from Genova.
America? Find the America.
Sorry?
Find the America.
Find America, this is the date. And which is the date?
1498?
82. Okay? Now, the discovery of America is, from a historic point of view, considered as uno spartiacque, how we can say, a wall where before the wall there is something and after a new world. So, during this harmonic wall that was about that was speaking Leonardo Benevoli, is broken with this evolution. For what concerns the city, we have to say that the urban space, the spazi urbani, where how we can see there is a good governance. There is a good governance because everything is in order and harmony. Because everything is inside how we can say, a ball. Now we have many balls, many different spheres. And the urban space lose the original attitude to be a political space where citizens were engaged in the development of a progressive urban democracy and good governance. Now, making another special temporal jump. What are happening in Europe during the 19th century? And why? Because the industrial revolution, the city are going to explode. If you think to industrial city of Great United Kingdom, Manchester, Leeds, Liverpool, the same London, was something of very insane. Insane mean, I don't know if it's correct, excuse me, I mean very unhealthy. I say this because the motto, you know, the motto of modern urban planning was light and air. The way to say the modern, the biologist, because the urbanism became from biology, from sociology, is not a field that born within self. Is a fusion of many different arguments. So, first of all, biology, the medicine, explained that the city in that way was unhealthy. And then people like Friedrich Engels, for example, the friend of Karl Marx, makes during when he was 22 and 23 a serious scientific study on the poorness, sulla povertà, and on the life of the workers in the industry in this city. And also the Queen of United Kingdom give the opportunity to some scientists to study the poverty. It's correct, the poverty?
Mm-hmm.
The poverty of the city, and how to live better these poor people, the workers. I don't want to spend a lot of time to explain how was the condition of life of the worker of industrial city in the 19th century, because it was the same condition of life of workers of 2000 in some regions of China and Africa, and etc., etc. But in Europe, for what regard Europe, for what concerns the European city, I think to Barcelona, I think to Vienna, I think to Florence, but I think to London. But one city in particular is very interesting example of the urban regeneration, because, and this city was Paris. Because, why, Fabiana?
There was a huge plan for restructuring from the center. There was I don't remember the name, but
Baron Haussmann.
yes,
He ha preso in mano la città. He takes in his hand the city, and makes something of very drastic. I want to explain just for 30 seconds one thing. It's not, this was something more of a political decision arise in the face of politics emergencies of the 1789, rivoluzione francese, 1789, 1794, 1799, 1830, other revolution in Europe, 1848, because the other important revolution in Europe, in the city of Europe, restaurazione e contro-restaurazione. Restaurazione means the restoration of the monarchy. There is a field of study that explains that Baron Haussmann destroyed all the ancient city, doing some large boulevards, for impeding to the rebellion, to the citizen that was engaged to contrast very in maniera molto interessante con armi, with come si dice armi da fuoco?
guns.
To fight,
Yeah,
to fight in literal sense, to literal sense the
So it's easier to control people once you have organized networks,
because
agreed,
you have
everything.
so large space that people can do nothing, because they used to do barricades.
They are seen, and it's possible also for them to defend. So
This is a way of see the things. My way of see these things is I think that is true first, but I have to see the different side of the question. So looking to more side, to the other side, I have shown in this huge transformation, elitistic decision making, an elitistic decision making, between the ancien regime and the private developers. Because exactly during the 19th century, the city became, how can say, the land of market. So the main, lo stesso suolo, come si dice il suolo? The field is una merce di scambio, scusatemi, comincio a essere affaticato, come si dice? Merce di scambio, something that can be
Change.
Can be sold and bought. So they was able to see in a long run, un lungo periodo, and they saw the opportunity for the private body that was grown up during 500 years before to do money and to control the city, making an operation, a transformation of the city in an ancient city, the exhaust ancient city center, in a modern and refurbished city, with and exactly in this, after this urban transformation, was growing up the first commercial center in the world for a different consumer, for the women first of all, I grandi magazzini per le signore. Émile Zola wrote incredible books about this, as well as Victor Hugo wrote something very interesting about the life in the exhaust district of Paris. This book was the Misérables. So this was how can say, the first urban regeneration. But I say the first urban regeneration because it was a will of the man that did it. It was not something of, I can say, there is a word, a modern word, if I do something and I have another results. This is the contemporary age. No. In that case, they want exactly to have that result. A new city, a new modern city, and that was not was the first to do the urban transformation, because also in Barcelona with Cerdà, in Vienna, the Ring, London, Florence, all the European city change is urban pattern during the middle of 19th century. And I'm saying this because this was necessary for us to understand what happened about 100 years after. Between the 1970 and the 1980s, the building land is treated as a public utility. The land is something. I don't have any Wi-Fi connection to find the word that I need. So
How is it in Italian?
the merce di scambio, I said before, la merce di scambio, It's like an apple, it's like a bottle of wine. A product can be exchanged. This is the land. Okay.
Yeah, the economic value of the land, maybe.
Exactly. This is growing during this, and I don't want to speak about the theory of the value of the land that are born exactly in this time. Just to give to you a wider vision of the things, because I like to introduce some argument, leaving the student, if possible, where it's possible, with some curiosity and maybe spunti di riflessione. So, the market of the land is, and the market, and in this century, we are now in the 20th century, the second middle of 20th century, so 1970-98 /99, there is a stagnant situation, and the price of the land was very uniform. No possibility to have rent, no possibility to have value in exchanging land. But another things, dramatic things was happening during this, during the second middle of 20th century, and it was the deindustrialization of the European industrial city. This is a fact. After 100 years of crescita interrotta, di una crescita interrotta, after 100 years, there is something going wrong. The cycle, il ciclo, si dice cycle, the cycle is finished. The growing cycle is finished. And the owner of the industry is not finished the industry, I mean, because it's not finished the industry. But there is no more possibility to gain money, to do business with the industry at that condition. In a capitalistic point of view, if you do profit, you are a good man. But if you do not profit, you are a bad man. This is the Protestant ethic of capitalism. Max Weber, the same of before. And so, what happened? If you need something that for you is absolutely, totally necessary, but you can't have your profit in doing that, what you will do? Where is the solution? Doing that things in another way, doing that things in another place.
Yeah, they're transferring these industries to the new countries, where also they can gain labor, cheap labor. The laws from the environmental, they are not so strict. The places are cheaper, so they can put like huge plants with not spending that much money, and then they just they're transferring the technology there, using cheap labor, cheap materials, and bringing the products that are already added value back to where they can sell for expensive.
That's what's happened, and that's what's today happened. When there is a stagnant economic situation. But which are the consequences for the cities that lose this core, this strategic development, which are the consequence?
Empty places, and also labor that they don't have, like they're not high qualified and educated. If they have more simple work, maybe work in those factories, they are unemployed. So have social, and also from the space, all the plants, they are empty and
so
abandoned.
The industrialization leave a sort of desert in the city, in the industrialized city. Newcastle, Manchester, which else? Glasgow, Birmingham. Barcelona was a different case, but also Barcelona received a very hard hit during this time. And but this was the economic cycle, inexorable cycle that left the city in that condition. Now, from a governance point, from the government point of view, which is the good governance to resolve this type of situation? The focus is in the urban planning, in the marketing, and in a long-run vision. You have to restart, to reset and restart, to have to react to decline. Also because something new was happened during that time in 1909 was the I would say the bubble, si dice, la bolla, the bubble of new economy, la bolla della nuova economia, the immaterial economy. After the material economy and heavy industrial, now there is the light industrial. There is the tertiarization, a new kind of economy with face-off, da affrontare, to face-off. Leisure, entertainment, commerce, shopping, and tourism that was growing, that is born, exactly, the tourism is born with Baron Haussmann, and in France, in UK, where is the new town around city. You know, as an urbanist, have you ever listened?
Haussmann.
Not Haussmann, the Edsner Award about the city, the garden city.
We have actually in São Paulo, we have the garden city also, like this. We have also the big avenue plan. We have Champs-Élysées, like Champs-Élysées, same, and also we have this kind of garden cities in some neighborhoods. They are still preserved, and they are not the I used to live in one. So we also do have this pattern from strategy.
This new point of view of the city, new, fresh, new and modern. Now, no, di qua. How we have said before, we have seen before, there is a shift in the use of production factor, you know, in the shift in the use. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Thank the use of production factor in the 20th century. As you see, some information about, and then we make a bracket, some information about factor of production. How we can see, there is a decreasing of labor, but what happened? Technology and capital are growing. The land is decreasing, the use of land is decreasing. Here, no? The use of the land and the works are decreasing. Because you have more technology and the man is substituted from machine or a way to do a way of to do labor in a different way. So no more big plant, but smaller. The time is the same is the same, but means also is wider, because we have now the 24-hour city, the city that don't sleep never. And management and direction are growing in some case and decreasing in other. Raw materials is a very important factor, and at the same time second-hand materials, cioè the reuse of the raw materials. In very few words, this is an urbanistic point of view, but in an economists divide the factor of production. This is a correct information, not because not the information. What I'm saying is not wrong, but is a point of view of urbanists. I am an urban planner, and I give my point of view. To have another point of view, that is the point of view of the economist, where, and I mean of the field where we have take this information, we have to say that the economists divide the factor of production in 4 categories, big main categories, and then other sottocategorie. The main categories are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. When we speak about land, we include any natural resource used to produce goods and service. So we have the raw materials and other resources that can be renewable, for example, a forest, and non-renewable, as gas or oil. The second factor is labor. What is the labor? Is the labor? The labor is the effort that you do to have a result, to produce something, the goods. Ecco, la merce è il bene, goods.
Okay.
Good and service. If you do something, you want money for your goods, for your resource. So the income earned by labor resource is the wage. Okay? The third factor of production is capital. We can think about capital as machinery, tools, buildings, buildings, and all the things and the value to produce goods and service. The income earned by owners of capital resource is the interest. Okay? Then we have the entrepreneurship. The economists speak about entrepreneurship something very special. And I believe that a good entrepreneur is a man that has a vision and that can produce goods and service very useful for the humanity. I think that our Professor Cotana is a sort of entrepreneurship in something point of view, because he do a lot of things useful for us, and not only for us, but for the city and for the science. So, taking into account these things, now we make a little break. I want to show the city where the city of the most important, o meglio, the city that make the history of strategic urban planning. Francoforte, Glasgow, Lisbona, Bilbao, Barcellona, Lione, and Torino. What happened in the city? We have seen what happened in the city during the middle of the second middle of 99. And I want to say a few words about Turin. I will show you after something, not my presentation, not my presentation, but presentation of guest that I invite to a national conference in department of Ferrara that I organize in 2017 about the relation between a natural disaster, as could be an earthquake, and urban strategic spatial planning. The topic was the strategic, the knowledge of natural disaster, and as support to how to avoid the consequence of natural disaster using strategic spatial planning, and which is the way to put in relation natural disaster with the urban planning. The way to have a correct government of the land was simply, in a nutshell, was to exchange the exchange of information. And I will show you something about that after, and after to now.
Yes, vessels are southeast.
Let's go to talk about something to speak about our plan. I said I would like to show some case, and then I will speak about Turin. We have Glasgow. Where is Glasgow? Glasgow. Dove?
England?
Scotland. Okay? And then Lyon, France. And Frankfurt. How you could see the strategic urban planning is something of one of the main difference from strategic spatial planning and traditional planning is, for example, the master plan of a city is the fact the master plan of a city have not hand. Is without a temporal is without any temporal reference. Quindi, how can say, have not hand, I mean not hand, una fine, non ha fine. Is never handing.
Oh, ending.
Handing, is never handing, sorry for my accent. Is never handing.
Oh, okay.
Non finisce mai.
Okay.
The strategic spatial planning has a span, is oriented in a span of time that could be 5 years, 7 years, not more of 10 years. As you can see, for example, Glasgow, 7 strategic plan, 3 years, 5 years, 8 years, and something like this. And this urban regeneration start from a renewal of a part of the city, then the center, then the metropolitan area, and then again the city as a whole. Lyon is now is 30, and we have 30 years of strategic urban planning in Glasgow as well as in Lione. Lione is a very important case because is an example of how to put together public and private stakeholders, how to share the responsibility of the government of the city. And in this 30 years, Lyon has changed its face, has changed his pattern of development. As you can see, he have a technological, now Lyon has technological scientific center, the train grande vitesse, the IGV, and other important function, urban function, health, local public local transport, and a new outskirt. For what concerns Frankfurt, we could say not so much because it's the second city in Europe for the highest concentration of business activity, and is one of the European cities with more concentration of employment. Now, but is another important city is Barcelona, that start urban transformation, looking for the Olympic game of 1992, sorry, okay, 92, and but I want to say something about Torino, because Torino has, you know, is was the city of the industry, car industry, Fiat. But this city was facing a deindustrialization of about 50 million of square meters of land, and 50 million for a city that has not much of, has not more of 300,000 inhabitants is not so easy. If we consider the city center, if we consider a metropolitan area of Turin, we have 1 million of inhabitants, but it's not so much. 1 million is not a European capital, also if it was a European capital in terms of demographic growth. But the history of Turin is not so important because it was the first Italian strategic plan in 1998. The first Italian strategic plan participated and shared by the most important stakeholder of the region. This means Fiat, industry, this means bank as San Paolo, this means other important foundation and university, 2 university, Politecnico and Statale. So I can say without doubt that is a strategic plan of success. È un piano di successo che ha avuto, that have had a positive impact on the city. Just two words, because this city change is business destination from industry to tertiary, tourism and culture. For people who like me, that used to travel using train in Italy, I note that in some tourist paper lived by tourists that live in the train by tourists, from touring was not considered until 2005. Touring as a touristic city, it was considered in a touristic paper of tourists from USA or Brazil, or it wasn't this city. Then this was a shift, and from 2006 I start to see the city of Turin as a very important touristic city. I can think to Museo Egizio, one of the important of Europe, Museo of Arazzi, another important museum that was part of the strategic plan, that had three main strategies, one of which was the TAV, treni alta velocità, TGV, that for political reason was stopped. I don't want to speak about all the question of a problem of the come si dice velocità, high speed train. I don't want to speak about this because it's a sad question for.
So it doesn't exist.
No, is it in Italy?
But in Torino.
From Torino to Lyon. I thinking about if you have a metropolitan area with this perspective to Europe, that for historic reason was so linked to the France, and then for strategic reason you have in a part of European trans corridor from Barcelona to Kiev, you have in the middle more or less, and you don't want to link, and you can't link to the other European trans corridor Transtube, is something of incredible, because we have a high-speed train inside Italy, within in the border of Italy, dentro i confini, within the border, but you can, with this track from Turin to Lyon, you would have the possibility, to link to the other metropolitan areas. Now you can't have this. We don't have it. I mean, there are only something like 20 kilometers of rocks to demolish, but the work are stopped because incredible question. Like in Italian happened, not so.
I'm Brazilian, so I know that.
Okay. But I want to say another thing about Turin, because in 1980, no, in 1980, in 8060, 8060, 8060, 8060, okay? What's happened in Italy? There was the
Unification? No.
unification, and the capital was Turin. Then, in 1961, for 1 year, the capital was a city of the central Italy, Florence. So there was a changement, a deep change in the economy, and in the life of the city, because all the commercial activity, all the hierarchy of the city, European city, Paris was a capital, Vienna, Turin. Now, Turin wasn't anymore the capital of Italy, it was Florence and then Rome. So this city loses its status, and with that lose a lot of opportunity, commercial opportunity, visibilità, international visibility, and so Turin has had to change deeply its economy, because it wasn't anymore a capital city, and so Turin has had able to find a new strategic core for itself. How is it being possible? With a plan wrote in 4 languages, English, French, Italian, and Deutsch, in which all the community of Turin was saying to other region of Europe, was showing to the other region of Europe the quality unexplored of the city. And in a few words, this I can say this competence, this ability, and this knowledge and other resource that he had was energy, cheap energy, because there was a lot of water and hydroelectric central built during the risorgimental periodo risorgimentale age, risorgimental age, a lot of appunto hydroelectric central that was able to produce energy, cheap energy, for new factory, new company. So I was saying to you that live in Spain, and to you that, for example, live in France, you can invest in my territory, and you can, because we have cheap energy, good and qualified worker, energy, workforce, qualified, and what else to do entrepreneurship?
The materials, the resources.
We have in Italy we don't have so much resources. Not goods that you can sell to Laura that live in Spain. We know
Market also. If you have market.
Yes, but market, behind the market there is the bank. A framework of bank, structured bank system. Structured bank system, and that is mean that I can give you money with a good condition. If you want to invest here and you don't have money, but you have a good idea and the ability to do this, you can do without using your capital. I give you the capital to do this. We are in 1980, in 80-60, and in capital, and it was capital city in 1901. Fiat born the Fiat. In 40 years, the city change is development pattern by using an instrument. This is the fact. An instrument that is a book in 4 languages, translated in 4 languages, in which a little book in which was described the main activity and the main resource of the city, the quality, where it was the first strategic plan of marketing in the world. 1986. So after more or less 100 years, because first strategic marketing plan, and then in 1998 the first strategic plan, spatial. In this case, to do a shift from industrial to tertiary. In this case, to do a shift from a status of capital to to another status that was the industrial status. That is the meaning and the ability, the capacità, il significato e la capacità of a strategic plan to change a status, a condition of a city. In this framework, we have 3 generations of strategic spatial planning. This is Maria Cristina Ghibelli did this interpretation. I am not so agree with her, but I think that it could be useful to understand for a student to have a framework of the strategic spatial planning. If you are, then you are a practitioners, okay. You can have your doubts, practitioners, and someone that studies this field, fields like me, but other ways. We have during the, I can see here, but during the 16 and 17, we have the first generation of strategic planning, because we have I can see that very well. You're able to see them? No? Not so good. Very. No. But this, you can see this. Okay. Allora, first generation, I can help you. First generation, 16 and 17. Okay. The plan was hierarchic, top down, decisional. Decision was made by few persons, and they decide for all the city. All the plan was financed by public. First generation. Architect and engineer was the practitioners able to do the plan. Second family of city plan was in 18. We have, as I said, the bubble of tertiary economy. The plan was semi-top down, in a world of deregulation. Economic law was deregulated, and the plan was financed by public and private subject. Also, in the third generation of strategic plan, we have plans financed by a partnership, public-private partnership, and we have a new profession that was the planner. While the structure of the plan was not more top-down, neither not more down, but circular. So it means that all the stakeholders, the group of decision maker was wider, and everyone had the possibility to do something. It's important to say that when we speak about strategic planning, we have to consider not a large part of inhabitant involved in the strategic planning process. For example, it's not a wide large of people. Is ever a few part of the city that take the decision for the city. This is, I say this with a very pragmatic way, is an elitist decision making tools, because we have the mayor of the city, and the mayor of the city represents all the city, but at the same time he have a vision, and he represents politics strictly da un punto di vista, from a strictly political point of view, a part of the city, either if is the measure of all the city. So that's, I say this because when he have to take decision, sure he can listen to me that I am on the other side of the wall, but it's more probably that he will leave more space to you, that you are in the same part, political part of the maker. I don't know if it's clear this. No, non è chiaro. Sorry. I want to say that, diciamolo così, strategic plan is a share and participate. I write this everywhere. Strategic spatial plan, share and participate. What does it mean exactly? Share and participated? It not means that all the citizenship, all the citizens are involved in the process. We have the main public and private decisor, i principali decisori pubblici e privati, non so come si dice esattamente, come si possa dire, the main decision makers, the main public and private decision maker of the city, the main. To be more, to go more in the deep, to be more exact, I have to say, not one people in particular. For example, Mr. Smith, John Smith of the Smith industry, but the association, the president of the association of the industry, the president of the association of commerce. This is the main decision, public and private decision makers that I intend to involve in a strategic plan. And now we will see this.
But this is the second generation.
Yes, the second and third. Flexibility and deregulation is something of, I can say, gradual, is something of very gradual, simply because is necessary to involve not only the public but also the private in this reorganization of the city, because they can have a good idea, and if they have an idea, they can put money together with me to reach the result. I don't know if I don't want to explain exactly how to do a strategic plan. If you want, I can, but this is not it was not in my intention to explain the technical decision making of the sustainable strategic spatial planning, because it's hard to speak about this without having speak before of this. I would like to show other things, and then with Foligno, the case of Foligno, I said, show you exactly what I mean. So, just to have a clear, more clear, a clearest or more clear is better, a clear situation, a clear framework of the challenge behind the launch of the strategic spatial planning. We have to say that the challenge are two. In the long run, we have sustainable development, in the way we said at the beginning of the lesson. And as Laura has well said, ecology, economy, of course environment, but I prefer speak about equity. That means social equity. Okay? So in this way we used to say sustainable development, quindi sustainable strategic spatial planning. This we have some probable conflicts that we have to foresee, and these regard the property, individuality versus common good, because if you share and participate a decision, you have I'm sorry if I say it again, Laura, but in the future you are going to consider the opportunity to don't use everything you have in front of you, but leave something for the future, for the next generation. This is the common good. And in the other side we have our interest, personal interest, to use everything now. Provides on resource. So, sorry for mistake, a lot of mistake, or consumption and natural resource protection. This is another challenges that we know very well. Also for the rights, there is, I call him provides on conflict. Social equity versus, this is una contraddizione forse, but social equity versus environmental protection. If I invest money to protect environment, I can use the money to build up a more una più equa, una società più equa.
Fair. Could be fair. fair society.
equal society, from a social point of view. If I am poor and you are rich, I can spend money to give an equilibrium, a balance, to rebalance the situation, giving me opportunity to find work and to do other things. But if I spend this money to protect the environment, there is a problem. The money is, I can say, the cake is one. Okay? So these are a very important problem to do when you do strategic spatial planning. This in the long run. In the short run, we have again livability, ecology, economy, and equity. First of all, the way of the management of the growth of the city. We can plan this, and we can live to the invisible land of the market. You know the invisible land of the market? Okay. Because the market can regulate itself. But sometimes we have something like international bank crisis, like the last one of the 2006, that destroyed all the value and destroy a life of so many people. Or the other incredible global crisis of '99. Then we have green cities conflict. So urban, we can develop new buildings, or we have to protect natural environment if we think to the growth. And then we have again the problem of the gentrification. That means, in a few words, that Haussmann operation was a gentrification in diciamo antesignana, in a whole way. Poor people live in a part of city very important, for example the center. I
Push them.
Let's go. I leave this field able to do new investment for rich people. This is the gentrification. Then I want to close this first part showing to you why across the end of 80 and the beginning of 19, there were all these strategic plan. Sorry, because I leave something, but okay, how to face this challenge? The question is progettare. That is a word that came from Latin words, another Latin words, that's proicere. That is proicere. That's mean to throw in front of you something. Gettare in avanti, proicere. And you can throw in front of you if you are a project manager. What you throw in front of you if you want to do a project? An idea. This. You have to. You need an idea. That is a strategy. This idea derives frames, action, and project. Why we say we have a shared and participated vision? Because when we are agreeing to do something in the way I said, that is using private and public money to do something useful for the community, and who is the man that say this is good for the community? God in person, maybe Laura, because she is the mayor of the city and he represents the city. He is a third person, no? Super partes that can say, okay, let's do it. I am democraticamente elected. I have the power to do this. This is the democracy. And it is also, if you are so hungry with her or with me because I am in the same part of her, you hungry, but you can't, because this is the democracy, baby. To use a common expression, not okay. This is the democracy. The democracy is not negotiable rule. When someone is have the majority, he can do the things he said he want to do. So, this is for the case of this is the way we use the term participated and shared. And this is the reason why in an ultra-liberalistic way of do, they don't accept the strategic spatial planning, but they prefer the liberal way of active liberalism, prefer leave the city, do with his force, with his hand. Leave the market, do his course. If someone go to be ruined by from economic point of view, as I said before, this is democracy, baby. Okay, in this case, say this is the market, baby. So this is the rule of the market. In the middle, I think could be something that is not socialist way of see the things, but is a strategic planning, a strategic urban planning. Now, just to close the circle, because I'm come uno studioso, in quanto studioso di pianificazione strategica, come si dice in quanto studioso, as someone who study strategic planning, I can not note that in 1987, the data that is a interministerial delegation for the management of the territory and the regional attractiveness, French, of the French Ministry for Development and Territory, as give the opportunity to a national research center of France quindi CNR, anzi National Research Center. In Italy we have National Research Center, is a Centro Nazionale di Ricerca, CNR, okay? To do the first geographic research to metropolitan scala, anzi to a European scala. European scala. This is the first study on the European city. And it is a study on geography. As you can see on the right, we have Reclus, and the Reclus is this is è un acronimo, non so come si dice in this case, but Reclus is also the name of one of the most important geography of the world. It was a French people, crazy people, anarchists, but a man that changed the face of the geography, the modern geography, one of the father of the modern geography. So, after that, why I mentioned this study? Because it was a study involving 165 European urban agglomeration over 200,000 people, inhabitants. And this was a research for, I can say, few persons, just solo per gli addetti ai lavori, non so come si dice, come si può dire, just for the people involved in some question, urban question. But the echoes of this research, I mean the fact that the Ministry of Development and Territory pay the center, the National Research Center, to do this kind of research on the city, on the French city, make all the other European cities with its shares very high. Why French are doing this? We have in 1987. 2 years later, happened something of incredible for the world. Berlino, okay? And this means a new opportunity for all the European cities and for all the world, of course, was opened. And in this case, this study has had the merit to put on the table the question of the next 3 decades. And this is based on 2 dimensions, the spatial dimension and the temporal dimension. For what concerns the spatial dimension, the result of this research was that let's go to see the result. Page 79. Europe is structured along an urban ridge. Armatura urbana that organize space and define city. We call friendly this the black banana in the field of urban planner, la banana nera, no? Because you see the form, and then it go from London to Europe, Germany, until Torino. This is another important way that pushed Torino to do strategic plan in 1998, because his hierarchization in Europe, it was a part of it was still an important metropolis, a European metropolis. Then we have other urban pattern. The Pentagon, okay. After this research, other national, other minister of other nation engaged come si dice, hanno incaricato, have involved, in charge other his CNR to do other research, and then spring up here the banana, there the Pentagon, in other side the triangle, something like this. But he was the first. And the other point that this book has shown is the fact that 2/3 of European population live in the city. And we are in 1987, okay, not in 2007. In 1987 was the first time that someone asked to himself, how is the people that live in the city in Europe? This is the result. 2/3 of the European population lives in the city, and of these 2/3, more than half lives in the big city. So the city are perceived as the driver of global urban growth. And another important point is, yes, it's true, there is the blue banana or other color that we use to represent this strange form, that show that it is a urban armor. But it's also true that investors look not only to the national hierarchical scale, not only to the status of the city, but go to the city to know the city. Go to it. I would say we go on the field to see with our eyes how is the situation. So what is very important, what is the keystone is to let that the city be livable, veramente vivibile, with high quality of life. Is not only on the paper, how we saying with Laura, not only on the paper the project, but he have to be on the field, real quality of life, real service, real alternative mobility, real sustainable environment, etc., etc. This is that make the difference between un territorio appetibile for the investor and a territory that have not opportunity. Now, this is the situation. Of course, Torino, for what concerns Italy, two words in about I have something not in my sorry, just no.
Is there like any public calling from, for instance, like the mayor? Does he have audiences with the people who live here to help them to have decisions? Or?
This is a good question. Thank you. I am a practitioner of urban planning. I did some strategic urban planning, and if you want to know how the measure do to involve people in the decision, you have to let me show something. This is our model. This is integrated decisional pattern. Vabbè, ok, andiamo al punto. Integrated decisional pattern. How can be involved decision maker in a strategic urban planning, and why a entrepreneur, un imprenditore, entrepreneur should give his time to you that are the measure of the city, because time, how is the motto? Tempo e denaro.
Tempo e dinheiro.
No? So why I have spent my time with you? You are paid to resolve the problem of the city. I have to find the money for my company. So this is the point. And first, it depends from the moment of the city. Why a city does urban planning, a strategic urban planning. It does urban planning for, diciamo così, for three order of reason. Torino, it was in big trouble, and this trouble was in front of everyone, and the city, because it is an organism, asked to itself, let's do something to resolve this problem. And if the mayor, I don't know if I say se lo pronuncio bene, non so se lo pronuncio bene. The mayor, if the mayor say, help me to help you, in a Canadian way, no? President Kennedy say, help me to help you. So if someone has the mayor say, help me to help you, so facciamo qualcosa. And to do this, we have to sit down around a table and speak to do this. A good man, un uomo buono, voglio dire, gli uomini buoni, dotati, that have goodwill, they will sit down near the other. And each one take its responsibility. Questo è Milano, questo è Torino, this is Turin, but it could be, we could speak about Milano, North Milano, with other important heavy industry that finished its cycle, and other important cities like Genova, like La Spezia, like Taranto, like Brindisi, okay? Speaking about Grosseto, Livorno, speaking about Italy. Then we have other cities, like Trento, in Italy, or Pesaro, or Venice, or Piacenza. This kind of city were cities that have decided to do strategic urban planning on the one hand because they understand that it was the time, now or never, to do something. On the other hand, because I mean, now or never, I mean, the other city are doing something because stanno facendo qualcosa, because they have problem. Now we don't have a problem. Either if I see in the long run, Trento is one of the most rich cities in Italy, with high GDP per capita, the most important. But Trento decided to do strategic urban planning, and it is one, I said seriously, one of the best strategic plan in Italy, after that of Torino, maybe the second best in Italy, strategic planning, to avoid the risk of to avoid that risk, to avoid any kind of risk, to maintain a high standard of life. This is the case of Trento. In the case of Barcelona, for example, or London, they decided to do strategic plan to catch an opportunity and to be at their best at the moment, creating an environment, a social and economic environment full of opportunity and with the people very engaged, molto impegnati and convinti to do to do that commitment, cioè di perseguire i propri impegni. Cioè, if you do an Olympic Games, you have to maintain and respect all the situation. Brazil, I know that is a success, and Brazil, Rio is, I know that is a success case study.
You know that nothing happened that's like wrong. Nothing wrong happened.
Questo già ancora. This is a success.
Just after we had like a major crisis due to all the scandals of corruption. How do they build the things that, and now most of the things are abandoned. So it's not a concern like regarding to Barcelona.
Athens. Things to Athens.
I think they also have abandoned.
Yes, but I study that case, and I posso assicurare that they spend a lot of money, very lot of money, to do everything but the things for the Olympic Games. No, I say this with respect of my Greek brothers, because they have reconstruct. They are Greek. I can say what I can say. They use money to reconstruct all the rail system of the Greek that che risaliva alla prima guerra mondiale. All the highways, all this electric net, le reti elettriche della città, that was something of, il filo quello c'era, capito?
For that is nothing like this.
Dopo, okay, and then they use other money to do the things of Olympic game. But before they use this money to be a modern city after a 60 year of as well in Brazil they have una dittatura in modern age, and this condition blocked every kind of development. After the dictature, they want to fly, and they fly in this catching the opportunity of the Olympic Games and using the money to restore the country, the entire country, not the Athens.
Yeah.
Okay? To give the chance to other cities. Then the city, the economic Greek city is another, how we said in Italy, another pair of arms. Un altro paio di braccia. Sarebbe di maniche, ma diciamo braccia perché non viene mani. Okay? So this is the other reason, because the case of Turin, the case of Trento, and this is a good question because now we will see the third Trento and Perugia, for example.
I see that there are many, like for instance, we are in the center, but there's a Corso Garibaldi where I am. I can see that they are really organized as a community, and now they are restructuring a park. They are organizing themselves and trying. I don't know if they have a voice in the city, but at least I can see that among themselves they are organized and they try to develop their spaces. And I don't know if there's help. I think maybe from
This is not a strategic spatial plan. This is a life of neighbor. The life of a neighbor, yes, correct.
But if their voice is taken
Their
into
voice,
account...
I am from Perugia, I know very well the friends of Corso Garibaldi, and I can say they have a hard voice in the community, in the municipality, because it's a very, very old and respectable community, and they have a lot of problems that you can see every night and every day in Corso Garibaldi, but they exist. Thanks to them, this is again also the Borgo d'Oro. Corso Garibaldi is named in Borgo d'Oro. Okay? And thanks to these people, that is also the Borgo d'Oro, because it is suffered a very deep crisis, because all the old resident, something is died, the sons decide to leave, and when you have a changement, you have an anthropological and ethnical change that is normal, but for who lives there could be a problem. The indigenous people, I mean. So let's go to see Foligno.
But here, once you are as a urban planner, you are hired by the
Sorry.
You are hired by the commune.
Hired by the commune.
Like if you work for the commune, or if you working as the university, they hire the project that they.
So when I work, it depends. In this case, I work in private. I work with as a private
Consultant.
yes, a private consultant, telling them that if I am always very happy to involve the university, and just in the case of Prato, I had the opportunity to involve my university. But in the other case, the municipality know very well that if you involved a structure, that an academic structure, you have to spend a lot of money. I say this very directly because it is like that, because so or you have this money, or if you haven't, I say about myself that I am a little artisan. So if you want call Giorgio Armani to have your habit, you pay for Giorgio Armani. If you want the same habit but not the signature of Giorgio, you can call people like me that work knowing very well the problem of the city, and if you want an artist star, you have to pay the artist star, or you have to have something, oppure devi avere, si dice have to have, tu devi avere, you should,
You must or should?
or you must have some terrible problem that
Might have some.
might have some terrible problems that era questo il momento per farvi vedere questa cosa. Something like earthquake in Umbria and Marche and Lazio and Abruzzo in the 2016 and 2017. So this is Norcia. I go very. This is the Basilica of Norcia. So in this case, some artists are like Stefano Boeri, an architect of Milano that is the that made for example vertical forest in Milan, by which it wins the Pritzkest awards. It was so in this case he came in Norcia. He came in Norcia and worked for the community with an agreement with all the community, all the mayor, but without taking nothing.
Publicity.
Sì, certo.
It's good for him and it's good for the city.
It's good for him and good for the city. Questo è Spoleto. Okay, in this case we have this problem. Allora, now this is L'Aquila 2009. Okay, the reconstruction. I don't agree. In Aquila we have had 330 people died for the earthquake, no? So they decided to do new towns, but with a terrible consequence that from an urban planning point of view is a decentralization, is a different way to do. They have lived, hanno liberato, they clean the city center and put, I can say it like this, put the people inside new houses. Scratched from zero, scratched from, come si dice, costruite da zero.
Yeah, from scratch. But is this
From
like an emergency plan or not?
This is an
emergency plan.
An emergency plan made by expert of Umbria civil protection, and they did this for the school, for the hospital, using their experience, and they transmit their experience in this case. This is the centro universitario polifunzionale. They did it in few time, this kind of structure to let the people live again.
But is it temporary or not?
This is temporary.
Okay.
You can you build and then unbuild.
Okay.
Questa Emilia 2002, Reggio Emilia, Center Italy 2002, the school, again, first the school. When you have an emergency like earthquake, first the school and the help. High quality architecture with a plan, with something of very special ability. Sono scuole prefabbricate. Questo è Norcia, again Norcia. Vedi? Oh, with this pictures, we switch on the other. But I think we can do this tomorrow, because if you are agree, I have to leave some minute before to go to take to my sounds. So, sorry. This is a problem. This is the presentation of the first strategic spatial plan post-earthquake, where I was the scientific coordinator of this plan in 2006. This is the city, and this is the strategic regional document of 2008 December, and was after the earthquake, of course, because the earthquake was in 1997. But just to have an idea of what are speaking about, Foligno is a city of Umbria, and Umbria is a region, as you know, of central Italy, and this is the strategic, diciamo così, is not a strategic plan, is a draw of a, questo è più che un piano, è un disegno, is a strategic design.
A wheel, like a wheel?
Like a more
Intention?
no, sì, an intention, volevo dire non così profondo, più leggera, una strategia leggera in terms of idea, is idea that I have an idea, so I write this idea to foresee the future of the region, where we have to go from a regional point of view. Guidelines. So just to remember us that, for example, we are a region between Marche and Lazio. We have in the middle of, mi dite come si dice corridoio?
Corridor.
A corridor, between a corridor from Ancona to Rome, and from north-est and south-ovest from Toscana to Abruzzo. So Tirreno, Mare Adriatico and Mare Tirreno. Two main ports of central Italy, Ancona and Civitavecchia. Two other ports, vabbè, ok, qui non li fanno vedere, ma this is the strategic idea of Umbria. Then, more looking the territory from a point of view more centric, più vicino, diciamo così, not so, is a local point of view. This is the city center. This is the city center. So we can see the main road and rail that are going as well in this picture from north to south and north-south and east-ovest. This is a railroad. Okay, this is the railroad. This railroad and this. This is the city center. But we have to say that Foligno is the third city of Umbria, with after Perugia and with 160,000 inhabitants, and Terni 100,000 inhabitants. Foligno has 50,000 inhabitants, but is a very molto produttivo, is a very a territory with 10,000 company. Some of that are company that works on meccanica di precisione and in the military field, also in the agriculture and high level quality and food of quality, aerospatial industry, and of course buildings company. So we have one of the most important un'alta concentrazione di imprese, high concentration of companies in strategic field, I said aerospatial, meccanica di precisione, that means to do something for
with high added value.
sì, di high value, ok. Ora, this territory is in the middle of the Appennino, la catena montuosa dell'Appennino umbro-marchigiano. And from this mountain in September 26, 1997 came una scossa non so come si dice sequenza sismica, non te lo so dire.
Was a earthquake, a series earthquake.
An earthquake,
but it was Ciclo.
But not just one
Big one.
no,
Many, series
one
of,
big one,
series of continuous.
Yes,
Continuous.
continuous earthquake from 1997 to September to April 1998. Okay, this is a land that known also for the earthquake. San Francesco di Assisi speak about earthquake in 100 and 2000. Sì, ciao, in 12th century, nel XXI secolo, quindi vuol dire 1100, no, nel XIII, 13th century, 1200, ok? Uh, 53 municipalities affected by the earthquake and 23,000 evacuated. People evacuated. Which is the strategy to solve the problem? The strategy was to clean the areas, build up village with tents and mobile unit to live, the people live there for until the city center was able to be lived again. It's true, 53 53 municipality was affected by the earthquake, but 80% of population lived in Foligno and Assisi. They built up 127 villages and they have used something like 3,500 mobile units to live the people stay there. In the city center of Foligno, the city center of Foligno was clean. 8,000 people, displaced persons. I don't know if it's correct, something like sfollati we used to say, and the city was a desert. The city was a desert.
Is it the government paying for this?
Now, yes, now arriviamo a quello. Now, we have to say that the Italian, I have a table,
Table?
sì, a table, okay, sì, table, perfetto, I have a table with some date, but this is the national government that paid for this. Because if there is an emergency, you can't think to leave all the things to do in the hand of municipality, and if you think that in Umbria the biggest municipality is Perugia with I said more or less of 200,000 people. Okay. We have not so many money to spend. The problem was that, sorry, volevo fare vedere questo. Ecco qua, 12 millions of euros, okay? They spent a lot of money to do this, but it was a strategy. Was this strategy correct? I don't know. I can say that these people lived in this mobile habitat unit for 3 years. And it's a lot of time. But then they could, in 3 years, they could come back to their house. Anyway, the people was and now we have in Norcia people that live in situation like this from when 2006 2007.
Still people living like this?
Yes. Because the strategy was different, the problem was different, and they don't do the things. And first of all, there was not been there hasn't been, non c'è stata, there aren't there. Oddio mio, scusate.
The whole sentence, how's in Italian?
Chiedo scusa. Non c'è stata la presenza dello Stato.
There wasn't
the
presence of
the state, the presence of the state, and I mean in terms of money. It was another situation, but if you have an emergency, you have to use all the resources. we have to say also that from 1997 and 2007, not 2007, 2006, sorry, 2016, there was L'Aquila in 2009, and L'Aquila, it has been considered as one of the worst example of management of a natural disaster. And now with Norcia, this is the truth. Nobody, neither the governor of Umbria, neither the presidents of Italian Italian Council of Ministers, neither the many presidents of Italy have taken the responsibility to do something. Non hanno avuto il coraggio, because they feel the ghost of L'Aquila near them, and L'Aquila it has been a dramatic situation in terms of management of natural disaster. Anyway, after 2 years, the Umbria region decided to start the operation out of containers by 2000. And they start to build new houses near in woods, something in woods, another more stable, but anyway, in ogni caso was temporary. In any case, it was temporary, and all the intervention ended in December 2005. How many does it cost? More or less about 1 billion of euro, 800 million of euros, 800 million of euros, more or less 1 billion. This is the special program for public residential building for Foligno. This table show you a very, con una certa precisione, the consequence, come si chiama? The budget and the time of working and the type of restoration. It was a big work. It has been a big work. I have a few minutes, but one last thing before to leave you. We have to say public reconstruction and the public do it is work, okay? Private, on the other side, private reconstruction, this is the line, the guideline. Public do the public. You are private, you have your house destroyed, okay, I will give you the money, but you do it your own, in your own, cioè lo fai tu. You give me the paper where your practitioners said to me how many does it cost, and I will give you the money.
Okay.
But this is your problem. Private, do the private. Public, do the public. And in the case in which this is not possible, because there is some mixed situation, un po' pubblico e un po' privato, we do together. And the reconstruction is, as you said, in the bottom of the slide, it means project and management, technical administrative management. The private did it a lot of things. This is how I can say the Umbrian model. Okay, this is the Umbrian model, and it is at the center of a lot of hard polemiche, so hard polemiche, correct?
Was this
Critiche.
Criticized.
It has been criticized very hard, because they leave the people in the unit mobile habitat module, i moduli abitativi, mobile unit for the habitat to live, no? They leave the people there a lot of times. They spend a lot of money and going and like something like this. Yes, they spend a lot of money, public money, for sure, and they leave people inside the mobile unit for 2 or 3 years. But this is a model. But it is a model that leave possible to have a collaboration with all the people, because you are at the center of your problem. You are not lived, okay, allora, you go there and stay there for 30 years. This not happen in this case. Now I have to leave, but to leave the opportunity to the private sector to do the things means to start a market, di iniziare un mercato where to give the opportunity to a lot of little company to work, because nobody know who do the things. You make your choice. She makes her choice with her practitioners, her company. Okay, me too. And all are working. In the case of L'Aquila, for example, 1 or 2 big companies, and that's all. You have no market, you have no indotto, come si chiama, you have not opportunity to go ahead in the time. Because if you have 1 or 2 big companies decided by the government and paid with the money of the government, the game is over. Tomorrow we speak about the earthquake and the strategic plan.